Okay, so welcome back to my channel. This is going to be a recap of Tidelands Season 1, Episode 4, Don't Trust Humans. Okay, I want to start by apologizing. I do sound a little congested. There's something going around. I have a cold. I've been trying to doctor myself up, but okay. It's just miserable. But anywho. Okay, so Cal is on her way to Latant. Augie is hot on her heels. And in the previous episode, you know, Adrielle knew that Cal would eventually show up. And so she had already told Leandra if she shows up, punish her. So Cal shows up, and as soon as she get off the boat, and Leandra jumps out the bush like some damn animal, jumps on Cal and starts basically bamming her head into the ground and she's trying to gouge her eyes out. And Augie shows up, and now he has a gun on her like she's gonna blow her damn brains out if she don't get off Cal, and and it wasn't until Adrielle came out and told her to stop. She stopped. And Augie is trying to get Cal to come with him, but she wants to stay because she's trying to figure out who she is, maybe find out who her parents is. Now keep in mind, Augie still doesn't know that Cal's not his real sister and that she's a Tidelander. He doesn't know any of this stuff. So, as far as he knows, she's his sister, and he basically told her that you're the only person that I trust right now, and I just need you to come back with me, but she didn't. So he left, looking confused and angry, but he left. So Adrielle and Cal, they're walking towards Adrielle's house. A woman comes out and whispers something to her. The woman takes Cal in the house. Adrielle went to tend to something else. It turns out the guy that Dylan was beating the shit out of, that was following him, he didn't kill him at that point. He now has him tied up to a chair, and he's beating the shit out of him, trying to find out who he's working for and why he's there, the whole thing. So Adrielle walks in, and she was able to get into his head, use her, whatever disability they have. And he basically spilled his guts about who he was working for. And she, because they have the ability to control, I guess, fluids, water, blood, whatever. So she kind of she put her hands on his chest and basically explained to him what was happening to him, how she's making his lungs fill with blood. So basically he's suffocating. So she basically told Dylan, you know, make sure that you leave him someplace where he can be found. Like, we're going to make an example out of him. And one thing I couldn't figure out is, like, why couldn't Dylan do that? Why does he always resort to violence instead of using whatever this power of persuasion they have? But whatever. So we flash back to Adrielle's house. Cal is there, and she's kind of walking around trying to get a lay of the land. Dylan eventually walks in and asks her why she was there, and they just started talking. And he basically, she was asking him, do you know what I am? And he was like, well, can't believe that you didn't. And she, you know, explained, like, she would see, like, water move. It would just be fleeting moments of things that would happen. And then she would just chalk up to, oh, it's just all in her mind. So it wasn't anything that she really thought about. And so around this time, they're talking, and Viola walks in. Now, if you remember that little situation they had on the boat in the previous episode where she thought he was about to blow her brains out, she basically said, asked him, why didn't he pull the trigger? Why didn't you shoot me? She told you to kill me, didn't she? Well, why didn't you pull the trigger? He didn't really have much to say. He was like, she said, it looks like you're not, basically you're not her little lapdog anymore. Like, you're not, you're disobeying orders now. And basically, like, when he's really ready to, I don't know, whether to make a move or, you know, whatever, basically to find her. Because, you know, she's already, Viola, excuse me, this whole thing. So, Viola's already, you know, gunning for Adrielle anyway. So, kind of overheard the conversation, but, you know, that it was fleeting, and that was that whole thing. We flash to Augie and Colton. And so they go back to meet with their guys. Maybe the guys tell them about the attack. So because they came back with the products, they was like, "What, they didn't buy?" And Augie was basically like, Tom won't buy anything anymore. This guy Gregori, or whoever this guy's name is, came in and killed everybody. Now he wants to work with us. And the people were like, "Oh, but you don't want to work with him. You don't want to sell to him." And Augie didn't want to do business with him. Because he has a reputation. So the guys were like, well, why would a guy like that want to come down here on this? And so he was basically like, okay, this is what we need to do. We need to put our feelers out to see if we can find other buyer. So that's the task for everybody right now, trying to find another buyer, because he doesn't want to do business with this other guy. So during this time, Jared gets a text And he shows up. Jared is Augie's friend who was sitting in the car when Augie was in there screwing Laura. So he goes to see about this text. It's Laura. She didn't texted him. And now he done screwed Laura. I'm like, this bitch, girl. Okay, so Augie's now talking to Rosa because they still owe Adrielle and them the rest of this money. For this, because basically, I don't know if I said it in the other episode. Adrielle is looking for these artifacts to put. She's trying to put something together, and she got a text about this piece. And based on their coffers on the compound are almost dry. That's why she was cutting everybody's money in half. And so she is sticking it to Augie and them, charging them double so that she can pay for this thing that she's trying to piece together. And so so Augie ends up going to his mom and trying to see if she has money, but she's like, she don't have the money. And so he was like, wait a minute, I saw you were about to hand Cal this $200,000 check. And basically like it was just for show. And so Augie's there looking at her like, bitch, she was about to give her a fucked up check. Like, you don't think that once she knew the check was bad, that her ass wasn't going to come back? Like, if this was the whole thing of trying to get rid of her, that wasn't going to make her stay gone, because then she would have just came back pissed. So he's looking at her like, God damn, Mom. So he ends up walking out. So Cal ends up staying the night there. It's the next day and they're kind of walking around. Talking. And that's, you see Dylan, he gets on his bike. And when he moves his helmet, he sees this strip of paper that has all these numbers on it. So he's kind of looking. And he, goes on about his day. So Adrielle, Adrielle and Cal are kind of walking. And you find out that we don't know how old Adrielle is, but she's very, very old. And she takes her to this cut in the woods. I don't know, some kind of, it's like stone hills on mountains on either side of them. They're walking through this path, and she tells Cal to touch the ground. So when Cal was able to touch the ground, she was able to have visions of what happened there before. And she saw the vision was of Adrielle when she was a little girl, when her and their people lived there, and the men came in and shot and killed a bunch of people. And it was only Adrielle and two other women that survived. And Adrielle at the time was a little girl. And so that land, the compound, is basically on the land in which she was born and raised. And Adrielle basically said, when you're ready to come back to us, then just come back, basically. And so she walked off and left Cal there. So you have Bill on the boat, and he's tearing the wall out, tearing one of the walls out. And I'm like, what is he doing? So he digs in and he finds this locket, and he opens the locket, and there's a photo of a woman. And then the next thing you know, it flashes to the old woman that's been locked up in Adrielle's basement. I'm like, so is that the woman? He was looking at the photo like this was once someone he was in love with. And so I'm like, is that the woman? So Adrielle, of course, goes to her because she wants to see basically what the future holds for them. And of course, the woman was like, she just didn't want to do it. So she cuts the woman, and the woman was able to stop herself from bleeding. And Adrielle will basically tell her, you need to bleed. She was like, no, I'm not going to fuel these, whatever this thing you got going on, these half-baked visions that you're seeing, that you're not really, because visions are subjective, and they don't always mean what you think they mean. And she was basically like, in essence, you're using these visions to rule, and that's just, the woman. She was just like, girl, pfft. And so around this time, Adrielle gets a text, and it's a photo of the piece. Now, she received a phone call earlier talking to the guy because she was able to have all the money she needed to transfer the money. The man, and so they're bringing her now the piece that she paid for, but she still needs the money from Augie and them. So I guess whenever the people come line up for their rations or whatever money that they get from her, she'll have their money. Otherwise, it's gonna be anarchy in there. So she gets the text about the piece, and she was like, you know what, to be continued. So she ends up leaving, And the next thing you know, you see Cal is walking back towards the boat, and she sees a drawing, and then she turns around, and Bijou left a drawing of something on her boat. I couldn't really tell, but she kind of looked at the photo and then turned around, and she was able to see Bijou, and of course Bijou ran off, so we don't really know what was on the little drawing or what it actually meant or anything like that. So we flashed to the police, and they found the guy's body on top of his truck. And, they're going through the whole thing. And Corey is kind of sitting there like, what is going on in this town? So, you have Jared. He's leaving. He's getting in his car. And who walks up? The guy that walked up previously that asked him for a light in the previous episode. But this time, he has a recording of him sleeping with Laura. And the man basically blackmailed him, saying that if he doesn't do what he tells him to do, that he's going to tell Augie that sent him the video. So now he's blackmailing Jared. So Corey is in the morgue. The body's been taken to the morgue. He's in the morgue. He's waiting. The coroner had to go and do something, and there was something left on her screen, and Corey takes a photo of it, and then this guy, the guy that's blackmailing Jared, he walks in with another guy because they came to get the guy's body. They're the guy that works for them, and basically they're like, there still need to be a whole scene or whatever. We just came to get our dude, and we gonna be out. And so of course Corey they went and got the guy and left, and so okay, so Augie's back in his office, and Corey walks in to tell him that they've turned over every rock, and they have not been able to find a buyer who's willing to do business with them. I guess because the Gregori guy, I guess he's that powerful that basically the word is out that he's basically forcing Augie's team to do business with him because nobody else is too afraid to do business with them. They don't want to buy from him. So they finally come to the realization that there's really no way around it. We're gonna have to deal with this guy. But Augie was like, okay, so we can set up a meeting, and basically Augie wants to kill him. Now keep in mind, Jared is sitting in on this whole this meeting that Augie, this is his whole plan that he's planning on killing these people. So next thing we flash to Corey, he goes to the police station to tell Paul that the people came and took the body. Let's talk about they need to call the FBI. Paul gets up and slaps the fuck out of Corey. Corey is standing there stunned. Now this is a grown man now. He was basically like, I'm expecting Corey to like go toe to toe, like, okay, knock the shit out of him. He basically stood there and was like, if you touch me again, I'm going to report you. And Paul basically said, if you mention the feds again, I'm going to kill you. Basically, like, this is how things go in this town. Do you really want to be on the shit on the wrong side of things with the Tidelanders? Like, do you know what they can do to us? So I don't want to hear anything else about any feds. And he walked off. And so next thing you know, Cal, she finally gets home, and she hears a knock at the door. Corey walks in, basically like, I know what you are, and I don't care. And they end up having sex. I'm like, you just barge in her house, and that's okay. Some parts of this show is kind of like, what the fuck is this? Okay, so they end up getting into it. They end up having sex, and afterwards she was like, well, how did you find out? And he was explaining to her, like, the guy in the morgue had the same marks that he had on his chest. And no, he just basically was able to put two and two together. So around this time, she gets a call from Augie. Augie is heading to his boat, and she was like, okay, you know what, I'm going to meet you down there because we need to talk. So Augie's on the boat with Jared, and Augie is in the hall. So there, he's pulling stuff out of the hall and handing it to Jared. And so next thing you know, Jared closes the hatch, locks it, puts the hose down there, and turns the water on. And so now it's filling up with water. And so he was there long enough for, I guess he thought it was full enough that eventually that Augie would be dead soon. So he runs off. Obviously not knowing that Cal was on her way there. So she gets there, and she gets there just in time. She could hear him, Augie, screaming, and he did drown, but because she was able to focus her powers or whatever, she was able to get the water out of his lungs, and he starts breathing again. And so, the next thing you know, we hear, so we have Dylan. He's at the bar, he's drinking, and he's looking at this piece of paper with all these numbers on it. And then he puts two together, and he basically attacks Lamar, like, you're the one who left this paper. He was like, yeah. Check, you don't have to believe me, just check the safe and you'll see what I'm talking about. So, that was that. So, Augie, next thing you know, they get back to their little headquarters, and you can hear that Jared is sitting at the table. They just have conversating with these people. They don't even know that obviously he tried to kill. At least we are assuming that all of them are in the dark about whether him trying to kill Augie. And all you hear Augie screaming, Jared! And so he turns, because he was obviously not expecting to hear his voice ever again. So he tries to run. Augie grabs him, basically throws him to the ground and puts a gun to the back of his head. And of course the other people are like, wait a minute, whoa, what the hell is going on? So he was like, tell them what happened. And so he basically said, I tried to kill him. And so of course now they're sitting there like, what the fuck, what? And he said, why? Because the guy made me, I didn't want to, he made me, da-da-da-da. So in the end, Augie ends up blowing his brains out. So there's Jared. And so Cal got upset, and she storms out. And Augie runs out behind her and was like, I didn't have a choice. And she was like, yes, you did. And I was looking at Cal in that moment, and I'm like, okay, does this bitch not understand the game that she decided to get involved in when she called herself buying into the family business? Like, did she really? She can't be that naive. This bitch, she committed arson and killed some folks and spent 10 years in prison. She can't be this naive, thinking that what was he supposed to let this man do? I'm not saying I want to see Jared die, but at the end of the day, he should have taken that ass whooping from Augie or whatever Augie was going to do, instead of trying to kill him. You know what I mean? Like, I just feel like, and for that particular scene, it's like, the man trying to kill him. What's he gonna do? Let the guy go so he can go and tell the people they're playing, Augie's playing. So it's like, I'm not exactly sure what Cal expected in that, or maybe she was just, it didn't take a whole lot for her to just kind of throw her hands up and make a decision. I think that's just what that was, because I can't imagine that she would be so eager to get into the drug game and then be that naive about how shit works. Okay, anywho. So, Lamar and Adrielle, so he's dressing her. So he's helping her get dressed because she is supposed to be going to this meeting. And he was like, well, are you sure you don't want me to come? Because I usually drive you. She was like, no, that's fine. So he's helping her get dressed. And this locket that she has, this key in or whatever, he accidentally breaks it and it falls on the ground. And she was like, do you know how old this is? And he apologized. He was like, do you want me to go and have it fixed? And she was like, no, don't worry about it. So she put it away and she left. And so the next thing you know, Lamar ends up meeting with Paul. And he has a photo of the key. He has the photo, measurements, and everything. He basically gives a photo of it to Paul, and was basically like, I need this key made with these exact specifications, right? So he was able to, which was smart, because he didn't actually have to take the key, and they have to worry about sneaking it back. So now he has Paul on the job of having a copy of this key made. So Dylan, he goes to the safe, and you can see he's fighting with himself, like he's kind of halfway putting a combination, and he's standing there like, do he really want to know? Does he really want his idea of Adrielle as this great leader and whatnot, this whatever, this infatuation he has with her, to come to an end? And so he was kind of fighting with himself, and then he eventually opens the safe, and he realized that motherfucker is on E, almost on E. And so he's like, where's all, like when Lamar went in and saw the damn thing was almost empty, like, where's all our fucking money? Like, what is going on here? So now Dylan, I think some things about to change between Dylan and Adrielle. So you see Adrielle, she's going to meet with the guy to pick up the artifact. And then you see Rosa, she's meeting with Gregori. So Gregori, the guy that's trying to wants to be Augie and his team's buyers. So she's getting in a car with him, and he knows her very well. Like, Rosa, you know, it's been a long time, so I forget what he says to her, but she go and satiate herself into the back seat of his car, right? His limo, whatever that was. So it's like, okay. And then Cal, eventually, she ends up going back to Laton, and that's how it ends. So, yeah. So I just think that Cal, I think she was just looking for a reason. It could have just been anything. Now, I'm not saying having some guy's brains blown out in front of you isn't a reason to go out and, you know, get some fresh air. But I felt like this naivete when it came to this issue between Jared and Augie. It's like, you know, it's just like he didn't, like, you know, step on his shoe or something. You know, it's like he tried to kill the man and would have succeeded had you not shown up. So a person in his position who's supposed to be the leader, he can't have, I mean, the people that's supposed to be working for him thinking that they can just, you know, that's a thing. Like I would say, then it'd be open season. He'd constantly be a target. Now, even though he don't really trust, he's not really trusting of the people that work for him right now, but he could, I mean, it's like there was really no way around him getting out of that situation, even just to show face, save face. So, yeah, I'm going to end this here. Oh, I feel terrible. I'm going to go lay down, and I will talk to you guys in the next video.